Howls is a Bigfoot movie that focuses on 3 guys wandering around in the woods in search of their lost dog. Honestly, it's nothing special, but what makes this movie unique is that the director and co-star, Jamie Tracy, uploaded it to YouTube for all to watch for free, which is great. Howls has 2.3 million views too, so people are watching it. But it seems like Jamie has other hobbies than just making a Bigfoot movie, and that's cooking. His channel, Anti-Chef, is exclusively a cooking channel now. And hey, good for him! He seems to enjoy it and is getting success. People are allowed to have more hobbies than just Bigfoot after all. Howls opens up with some guys pulling up to some train tracks in a Jeep. Who are they? What are they doing? I don't know, but I'm guessing we'll find out. Next we meet our main cast, Paul, George, and Jeremy. Paul's getting married and this is his bachelor party, put on by Jeremy. And honestly, it looks pretty lame. They even have to watch Paul's fiance's dog for the weekend. She's a cute dog, but George doesn't like her, so he throws her outside and doesn't tie her up. And naturally, she runs away. After a few minutes, Paul realizes what's happened and he goes out to look for her. They call her. Her name's Sydney, by the way. If you forget, they'll yell it about 100 more times. Sydney! Jeremy heads back to the house in case she comes home, and Paul and George continue their search. After a little while, Paul stops to take a leak, and that's when he sees it. Bigfoot in the distance. He takes off running, thinking it was a bear, and he yells to George to run too. They get to a good hiding place and catch their breath, but now they're lost. In the middle of the woods, and still no sign of Sydney. They're in too deep and can't get a good cell signal. Even still, they call Jeremy, who can't understand but knows something is up, so he goes out to look for him. Not sure if they're able to get a hold of their friend, Paul and George wander around in the forest for basically the rest of the movie, so get used to it. Eventually, they make it to some water. And in the mud, they find a giant footprint. And now, they start to second guess if Paul saw a bear or a Bigfoot. As they continue, George looks at his phone, and service is even worse now. So, they're going in the wrong direction. They argue a bit. George wants to know why he isn't the best man in the wedding, even though he's been his best friend since grade school. Paul says that they just kind of drifted apart, and every time they get together, something like this happens. Paul and his fiancée even have a George look for when he messes up their plans. And, well, I mean, it is George's fault this time for sure. If he would have just let Sydney stay in the house, they wouldn't be in this mess.
Okay, you know what? I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's now dark, and the 2 friends are hearing things in the woods. Trees falling over and low growls. They're pretty freaked out, I think. It's hard to see what's going on here. The next morning, they wake up to see footprints all around them. They take off and, again, just want to get out of there. But the thing that was watching them all night runs with them. They both stop, and the guys get a really good look at the creature. There's a stare down, and then another one pops up behind them. Then both creatures run away, leaving the guys standing there awestruck. They run through a river and eventually find some railroad tracks, which have to lead somewhere, right? George throws the gun he's been holding because I guess he thinks he doesn't need it anymore, but why throw it away? I mean, guns are expensive. Eventually, they make it to a road and get picked up by a black Jeep. Is that the Jeep from the beginning? Is it Jeremy? I don't know. In the final scene, we see what the 2 guys from the beginning are doing. They walk on the railroad tracks until they find George's gun. And then, that's the end. Okay, they left a few things unanswered for sure. First off, what happened to Sydney? Was she ever found? I'm assuming the guys made it back to the cabin and were reunited with Jeremy, but he was out in the woods looking for them. For all we know, he might still be lost. And what was the deal with those two guys? Was one of them an FBI agent or something? I don't know. Howls is the type of movie that you want to watch with your phone close by so that you can play a game or get caught up on social media while you're watching. There's just a lot of boring parts of Paul and George wandering around in the woods. And yeah, this probably should have just been 45 minutes long, instead of trying to stretch it out into a full-length feature. But there are good aspects to it. The music is decent, the acting isn't actually as bad as you would think. You can tell that these guys are friends in real life, and some of their lines are just them talking, so it works to their favor. And then the Bigfoot suit, surprisingly, looks good. You don't really see the details up close, and the best we get is at the end, but honestly, I'm pleasantly surprised. I like the dog running away idea because honestly, if you have a pet, sometimes they get out and you have to go chasing them. It's relatable. Some of the night shots, though, were just too dark and I had to guess what was happening. And they really should have just made more of a script if you wanted to make it a full-length movie. This isn't a horror film, but more of what a real-life Bigfoot encounter might be like. If you got the time and you like Bigfoot movies, I mean, the price is right. It's free right here on YouTube, so give it a watch. I give Howls 2 lame bachelor parties out of 4.
There she is. Where? In there? In the bush forest area. Stuff. Sydney! Are you lying to me? You know what, if you can tell me 25 other animals that are running around in the woods on a Saturday afternoon with a yellow coat, go ahead, man, because I want to know. Why does it matter what day it is? Shut up!